Welcome back, everyone. Glad you came back. I'm happy to be back. I just need to take a week. It was a big weekend. As you know, NASCAR's back in Daytona. You might not know, but racing with Jesse Rzazinski, a lot of shows to do over the weekend. WWE had Elimination Chamber, so there was two shows there and something to watch on top of all the other, wrestling out there. And I honestly just needed time to deal with that and a week off from this. Seeing us shatter that record, like shatter. If you saw the numbers, you'd understand. Shatter the old record so much, and then just sink back down to the low, so quick. Just needed a time, mentally because it was way up there. Like I was riding high, and well, it went way down. But I appreciate everyone that's here. I appreciate all the shares and the likes and the retweets and all the listens and everything that you guys do. So don't thank you. I don't appreciate y'all. I really honestly do. It just hurt my heart a little to see it go down so far because I was talking about just as important stuff and it didn't get anywhere, but I'm back, bitches, and we're on to something that's super important now that I got that off my chest. I appreciate y'all being here. And that is the problem at hand, which is President Biden. And people are gonna say all their usual shit. But how can you defend any of this? I mean, there's this much shit happening. There's this much stupid going on. And, he goes to Ukraine. Nothing, to help anyone that, is dealing with anything here in the country. None of that. He's just sending, over $100 billion at this point, possibly closer to two now, to Ukraine, takes a trip over there and ignores everything. And everyone up there, I see them all the time. You see them all the time, whatever, blaming Trump for this shit. On day one, how many Trump's things, to include stuff that he's turned around and then done himself, but it was, Trump that did it. He shredded it and then did it in his name. Like he went through and shredded so much shit on day one. And now he's been in charge for over 2 years. So blaming Trump for this is physically impossible. It was a problem and they knew about it. And they blame Trump. And if that is the case, that also means that, like many other things, like Roe v. Wade, we're going to codify. Well, you had majority for 2 years. What the fuck did you do? Nothing, but none of them are smart enough to figure this out. Sorry for the French. It's going to go on a lot. But we can add trains to the list of things that they did nothing about when they had the majority. And if it was that big of a problem that they allegedly knew about, Trump got rid of it. Why the fuck didn't you do anything about it in the 2 years you had the House, the Senate, and the White House? And you could say, oh, they didn't have the Senate. 50-50. Look at my times the vice president was the tiebreaker. It did happen a bunch. They had the majority. They could have got through it. But there's no other way to describe it than, failures and ignorance and not giving a fuck. And, just bad dereliction of duty to the most violent of extents. And how can you not? I mean, saying Trump did away with it and that's why it happened, like, is saying you knew it was a problem, you knew it shouldn't have been that way, but then you sat there for 2 years and did nothing until this happened. You didn't say a word. That's called dereliction of duties. Sorry, Trump got rid of it. Why didn't you put it back in place? If someone can honestly answer that question for me, listening to this or anything with at least a decent answer, how they can, keep blaming Trump, I would love to hear it because it's incompetence, disregard, dereliction of duty, and anything else you'd like to throw in there. Because they said, well, Trump got rid of that. So, yeah, which means you knew he got rid of it and you did nothing for 2 years, which is why, again, obviously wasn't that big of a priority or a problem because, you're admitting that you knew he got rid of it, but yet you did nothing for 2 years when you had the majority. So I'd like to see someone do something without blaming Trump. Especially if I can get a lefty to try to do it, because this is all Trump's fault. Like how he's been gone for 2 years, they could have done something about it. They didn't do shit about it. They did less than shit. They did nothing, zero, absolute. So you just add that, to the long list of things that they keep ignoring, like the southern border. Don't worry, that's where I'm gonna hit first because that has been a cluster since Joe got elected. And we just recently set a new record at both borders for apprehensions. Yet, he only went once and he didn't even go to the actual border. And then people make the same arguments as we're just comparing, things that are really bad really big clusterfucks here in the States, but he went to Ukraine. That's the purpose of all of this today. And everyone makes Trump separated families, the kids in the cages, stop with all the bullshit that got spread for all those years because it legit pisses me and everyone else off. You know who was vice president when all those policies happened? Joe Biden. You know, as vice president when those cages that Trump was putting all those kids in allegedly was, when they were built? Joe Biden. Who actually deported more families between Trump and Obama? Obama. You might say, oh, he did it more. Yeah, he had 8 years over 4. Yeah, even if you break it down that way, he still deported way more people than Trump ever did, as they made him out to be this big, bad, racist piece of shit, and they have to deflect everything. It's all they know how to. If it wasn't for deflection, they wouldn't have anything. But now, here's some numbers to go over. Trump's last year in office, 458,088 people crossed the border, apprehensions and all that, encounters. Biden's first year, 1,734,686. Last fiscal year, 2,378,944. Year to date for fiscal year 23, 874,449 through the first 4 months, because they start in October. Right there about. So if they stay at that pace, which it normally gets bigger, here in a couple months, numbers normally skyrocket even worse. We'll be at 2,622,347 for the fiscal year. He already set a record in 2022, and now we're set to break it again just at this pace before we get to the summer months when things get way out of hand. And before anyone tries to get stupid, don't worry, because I know people love to try to get stupid when it comes to this nonsense. Fiscal year 17, these are Trump's numbers, 415,517. Fiscal year 18, 521,090. Fiscal year 19, 977,509. Trump's last 3 years combined was only, I think, 200,000 to 400,000. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, higher than Biden's first year alone. That's 3 years combined. Blame it as you want that it's Trump's fault. Then why did it, there's the numbers. I mean, you literally can't make it up, and he's done nothing. Highest month under Trump was May of 2019, 144,116 encounters. Months after that went as followed. June was down to 104,311. July was down to 81,777. August was down to 62,707. September down to 52,546. And the last month of the fiscal year being October again. October being 52,500 or so. And, highest month under Biden, May of 2022 at 241,130. Almost 100,000 more than Trump's highest, and his numbers were up that big. So again, please, 1 month under Biden so far was lower than Trump's worst month, and that was his first full month in February of 2021. The only time he's been lower than even Trump's worst. And drug seizures also through the roof, and that's only what we're catching. There's a lot more getting through, just like people getting through, because we say there's over, for how many people they encounter, there's a million gotaways. There's millions of gotaways a year, and all these people are getting all kinds of stuff here. And again, look at all the, it's like, oh, we're catching all this fentanyl. Well, it's only coming in, through there. And how did we go from about 78,000, roughly, it's a little over, overdose deaths in 2020 to over 100,000 in Biden's first death year. We jumped almost 22,000 people just in that alone. And fentanyl was the number one, reason in the spike. Ergo, you're not catching anywhere near it because that number keeps getting cataclysmically worse. But they keep bragging about, how good of a job they're doing, gaslighting and lying to everybody. Yet, how many times has he been to the border? How many? I'll wait for that one. Someone give me some. And don't say that trip that he made to Houston, wherever the hell it was. The one when they cleaned up all the homeless camps, which, by the way, is not the border where all the stuff is actually happening. I'm forbid he can go there. Everyone's amazing when Trump's in office how much Democrats are right there on the border all the time. But literally, we're seeing the worst numbers sustained every month over and over again. And they say nothing's going on. And when he went there, what did they do? Oh, they cleaned up the homeless camps. And they made everything look completely fine. Like nothing was going on there for him and the cameras and all that for their photo op. And they said it was for security. If his security is so important, what about the people that live there every goddamn day and their security? moving the homeless people for a day and then they go right back when he's gone. What about the regular people that live there and have to, function their everyday security? As he's supposed to be ensuring the security of our, and sovereignty of our nation, the whole damn country. And that's his job. Why does, why does his security matter more than literally millions of people's security that have to deal with this shit all the time? Again, I'll never get a good enough answer on that. None of you listen to this. All y'all know we're not going to get a good number on that. But just saying, you can't even argue my facts. So, listen to those numbers I gave you, which are straight facts, and just shut the fuck up because there's no argument to say it. Those numbers right there that I just went over, which, by the way, were all from the Customs and Border Patrol damn website themselves. It's very easy to find. Trump's biggest month. Well, look, there's his biggest month. Huh? And Biden had 1 month lower than that by a lot. Big margin. Record number of encounters through the roof. And people are saying, oh, there's not a problem here. It's all Trump's fault. How? Look at the numbers under Trump. Look at the numbers under Biden. The numbers were going down. And all this. Why, like, records, like things that no one's ever, like, unforgivable numbers. So please, all you people defending him, even though I'm sure none of you are listening, please just stop talking. There's no actual argument you can make to defend yourself. There's none. I don't even care if I sound like a dick. There's no way to defend that at all. And he hasn't shown a single shred of interest or anything. None of them have. For any of that or the people and what people are dealing with in communities like New York City, Chicago, the border towns have been dealing with this shit for forever that are just dealing with it, and they have to keep dealing with it, and no one cares. But we're allowed to hear New York City and all them complain, we don't have the resources. What the fuck do you think these small towns have? You keep letting them flood over, and no one in the Fed gives a damn. Now to the disaster that is East Palestine, Ohio. If I say Palestine, I'm sorry. It looks like it, but not once has he gone to Ohio since that disaster happened. Yeah, under his watch. Amazing Trump's going to be there today, but yeah, they're citizens of his country and his community that is completely, in a community that's completely fucked, and nothing from Biden. Nothing really, like, from any of them, to be honest. It took them forever to even give a damn. It took Mayor Pete Buttigieg, we all know I love the guy, not 10 days to even say anything about it. With the fire, pollution, lives ruined, animals dying, families completely destroyed. And it took him 10 days to say anything. But he was still talking about, equity and stuff. Equity doesn't get you shit. That's what they're worried about. Like, all hell is breaking loose, and they're worried about equity. Fuck your equity. We want stuff that actually works. And again, if it was such a problem that Trump got rid of this, why didn't you guys do anything about it? Because saying that he got rid of it this year means you knew it was there and you still didn't do anything. Let's not go and ruin the perfect little rosy world that everyone falls for. There's all of us, people listening to this shit right here, we have this damn thing called brain cells. It's the damnedest thing you'll ever have. But this 10-day thing reminds me of the generals admitting that, they didn't hear from Biden for 10 days during the whole Afghanistan embarrassment where we lost 13, servicemen and women. Brothers and sisters in arms for me. Right there, the flag behind me, the Marine Corps flag. If you're watching this, obvious, we lost them. And it's amazing how I pointed that and then that happens. But, all that. And it took us 10 days here from that. And they admitted it under oath. It's amazing what they say under oath. If you didn't hear or see it, that's on you. It's not our fault. But they admitted it all under oath, even after the administration was saying, we're in constant communication. We hear from them every day and we're working with this. And then under oath, we didn't hear from him for 10 days. I don't know what the 10-day thing is for these cocksuckers. Again, this one just has me in a mood. But, 10 days before anyone said anything, show that you give a damn about them. Every time Ukraine scratches their nose, we know about it, and they're right there to give them help. And remember, the rails tried to strike last year. I believe it was over the summer because of safety concerns, amongst other things. So people strike them up. They're talking about safety concerns, and the Biden administration and Congress nixed that and didn't fix a thing when they were trying to strike because, all the safety concerns, that's what they said, amongst other things were in there. The federal government got in the way and went, nope, that's not happening, which means they just went right back to work. None of their shit got dealt with or heard. And here we are. That's that's another dereliction of duty because you didn't even care about why they were striking. Act of Congress and all them. They all got together to make sure that they couldn't strike regardless. Now it's really kind of pathetic when you think about it. But again, oddly familiar though with the 10-day thing and not giving a single shit when bad things happen to military citizens of your own country that you're supposed to be working for and helping and to give a prosperous, safe, healthy life. And here we are. But some of the dates on it: Friday, February 3rd, at least 50 of the 150 train cars traveling from Conway, Pennsylvania to Madison, Illinois derailed. Chemicals from 5 derailed tankers there had their chemicals released to avoid an explosion. After there was already on fire, they didn't want, and I understand that. I mean, I think there's other ways they could have done it much sooner. It's not like they didn't know they're on fire. They could have, they're, they have ways to get those train cars out of there in those situations so that they don't explode. I don't understand, again, I don't know the exact circumstances, but I mean, that many days later, I think they could have done in a lot smarter way than just lighting the whole damn thing, up. And here we are. But I do agree. Again, I think all of us can agree. An explosion would have been bad, but why did it take them so damn long to get to that point when they could have got helicopters or something to fly that bastard out of there? Just my take on it. Residents were given the all clear by the EPA to return home after stating that they deemed the air and water samples safe for residents. How much shit can you take? I mean, really? Sorry, they're given all clear by Wednesday. I don't believe them. Sorry. They've given us all enough reasons. If you've been up long, live long enough, you understand the shit. But 5 chemicals were also released and involved in, 5 total were involved. Vinyl chloride, obviously, we all heard about, which is used to make PVC pipe, been linked to a rare form of liver cancer as well as leukemia and lung cancer. Short-term effects include dizziness and drowsiness. And from what I hear, rumors you have to wear a little badge, when it comes to exposure to it in the factories, kind of like you do at nuclear facilities to make sure you're not too exposed, because it's not very good stuff, don't you know? Then another chemical reported early was butyl acrylate, also used in the plastic production. And then the EPA, amazingly, days later, shocker, it took them days to, like they shouldn't know what was on the damn thing already, but released that train was also carrying ethyl hexyl acrylate, isobutylene, and ethylene glycol monobutyl ether. And chemical exposure can cause symptoms including shortness of breath, burning in the skin and eyes, coughing, headaches, nausea, and other symptoms. I know there's people, reporting lots of rashes right now, which wouldn't surprise me again. And because, I think when it burns, that makes different chemicals that go up and go in everything. And I'm sure those lazy, stingy fucks aren't testing for any of that, because why would they? And that's not a dig at, any administration. That's just a dig at any of these 3-letter agencies, which normally absolutely suck, no matter who's in charge. They're corrupt and worthless most of the time. But the EPA now finally has been ordered to cover all expenses for cleanup, but who knows, what that actually, entails, in the fine print and everything, and what it'll mean, how long it'll take, what it means for the residents that have to live there and everything, and that have lost so much. There's a lot that we have to wait and see what comes out with it, but it took them way too long to say a damn thing or do anything at all, which is, the problem I have with a lot of this. It's like the border, but these are big clusterfuck problems, and they just have better things to do, apparently. It's like you said, the border, we got more important things to do. He said that last year. Please enlighten me as to what those are. But reports of animals like chickens dying, fish dying, being picked out of rivers, against skin rashes, people being told they have to get rid of all soft surfaces in their house and offered $1,000. I heard from one, which is just pathetic. Porous surfaces like concrete, stay away from them. Mustard gas could be in basements. Like there's so much, craziness going on about it. And again, it took them 10 days to say anything, and they're really not doing a damn thing. You could say Trump rescinded Obama's order again, but fun fact of that, it wasn't even in effect yet. So when he did rescind it, and again, he's been in office for 2 years, he stopped the strike. And if they knew it happened, they should have done something. That's called dereliction. And my big, questions I have coming out of that, on the train side, is if we saw people, with their naked eye, saw that axle on fire, and we have video of it for as long as it was before everything happened and it derailed on fire, and there's supposed to be sensors in there to let them know when things like this are happening, why did no one stop it? Like if the sensors were there, these things were working, and maybe that's what they were striking about, because maybe the railway companies didn't give a damn because all they care about is profit. I mean, look at all businesses right now. The big ones, that's all they give a damn about. Safety be, damned. But like it was on fire for that long. Why didn't they do anything about it? That's my biggest angering, you know, question about all of it is like, I want to know, like, and we'll never know the truth. That's the real sad thing is why did we see it on fire way the hell over there? And it still kept going at full speed until all hell broke loose and we literally Chernobyl the town possibly, because that's not good. All that burning up in the atmosphere over there and, being in the air is very, very, bad. And I just want, like, if I can get one thing out, I want to know exactly what the fuck happened there. And I think the people in East Palestine, yeah, and everywhere else in the surrounding area, because I heard, Kentucky up to Connecticut, this big band, it's feeling the effects of the shit happening, if not farther over at this point. That river is tanked and it's one of the biggest rivers, in the country. I mean, like, there's a lot of bad happening. And the videos of them putting sticks in the bottom of creeks and all that stuff coming out are not fake. Like, that is very real. How do they deal with that? Are they going to deal with that? Are they going to consider dealing with that? Like, they just bombed this big ass thing, and I want to know, and the people of East Palestine deserve to know why. And they deserve actual truth, not just half-assed stuff. And people start, dropping dead, and no one cares. Like, we need answers. And there's reports of clear coat being eaten off of vehicles, acid rain in the sky because of the chemicals up there binding with the moisture and all that. Possibility and likelihood of the EPA not testing for those chemicals again, like I said, by burning, the ones made by burning of those chemicals wouldn't surprise me. Again, everyone says, why, Jesse? Why? Remember after 9/11, they said it was safe to breathe that shit without having to worry about anything. And look at how full of it they were then. Sorry, I have no faith in them. They've proven time and time again they're incompetent. They just don't give a damn no matter who's running it. This is always idiots. Improperly trained, shittily equipped idiots. Yeah, shittily. That's a word. I was in the Marine Corps. Well, we were tank battalion. Well, we were shit equipped. We still pulled it off and functioned perfectly goddamn fine. Whatever definition of perfectly fine is to you. But this really is, this whole thing is just disgusting. And, it's a deja vu. With all this stuff that happens. And, no visit from President Biden. Took Pete Buttigieg 10 days. And Trump is going today, allegedly. More, leadership and give a damn than, the current president has right now. Because again, what have they done? How much has he said? Say what you will, there is people and they're doing absolutely nothing to help them, and announced nothing until Trump announced he was going. Yes, look it up. That's very convenient timing. They might have been trying to figure it out, but sorry, Mayor Pete taking 10 days to say anything. I rest my case. That pretty much says it all. And there's a lot of derailments happening, and there doesn't seem like we're hearing anything about that. The metal factory that exploded, that's not good. What happened there? The green energy factory that exploded, burned to the ground in Florida, not good. The pipe bomb found near those tracks in Philly, which would have blown them to hell, not good. Like, there's all kinds of dumb shit going on, and none of them seem to care. No one's asking even questions about it in the media, except for, damn Peter Ducey getting his head taken off. No, I don't watch Fox News for anyone says that. People share a lot of clips of it, and it's just Mayor saying nothing, Joe walking away, Peter Ducey pissing off the whole world, and the rest of the people in the room doing nothing, just asking, useless questions. We need answers on why all this shit just keeps happening. Sorry, I don't believe in that. I believe in coincidence, but this is way too big of a coincidence that everything's happening and melting down so rapidly. It's dog shit. And when this is all happening, of course, where does our fearless leader go? Goes to the place that's helped him out a lot. He goes to the place that he famously committed the quid pro quo, or as we all like to call it, the quid pro Joe. Literally when he's bragged, saying that he told me to get that fire that prosecutor, you're not getting the rest of your money. Before I get on Air Force Two, what do you know? They did. Boom. That was investigating Burisma, which Hunter was on the board of. To get rid of them or we're gone. That's not sketchy. I don't know what is. The place son got all that money and committed all, that. The place billions of our taxpayer dollars are going, which, by the way, a bunch are still missing. I think about 20 billion or so, still unaccounted for. That's reassuring. And, it's getting us right in the line of World War III. I don't care what you say, what you're giving this much money and equipment to them, saying we're trying to stay out of it. That's a pretty funny way to stay out of it, especially as he's making statements in NATO and our partners are going to stand strong with them. Ukraine isn't in NATO. in case anyone's confused by that. We're spending all this money on that while we have homeless vets, homeless people and children, hungry, starving children and people, disasters like East Palestine, and all these fires and natural disasters that go on. And on President's Day, our fearless schmuck didn't care about any of that. And he went to Ukraine. I don't care what the hell you say when this kind of shit is happening. Sorry. You should be there dealing with that. Not making trips to Ukraine on it, not having your people take 10 days to talk about anything. Like you should be talking about, like we didn't know about any of the random, spy balloons and stuff until someone in Montana went, what the fuck is that? And then suddenly they talked about them. But yeah, and then again, deflected. Oh, Trump. Like it's funny that you guys didn't detect him until 2 years after Trump was gone. That's pretty goddamn fancy. That's all they ever have, and people keep letting them get with it, and getting away with it. And I'm sorry, but it's derelict. This is like so much dereliction of duty, and not giving a damn on a biblical scale. And everyone keeps making a pass, giving a pass, and all I see is just Trump, 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 Trump. Like he's been gone for 2 fucking years, people. Time for you to realize that he's not in charge, and that these jackasses are, and they shredded most of what he did. And yet all this stuff is still happening because they don't actually give a damn. As if they gave a damn, we wouldn't be here. They wouldn't just go, well, Trump did that. Well, you had 2 years with the majority to undo that. Why didn't you? Because you don't give a damn. You can deny it all you can, but you can't deny anything I said and all those numbers and be an honest person because they're all facts. It's all true no matter how much you want to blame the orange man with the weird hair. It still freaks me out, but it's impossible. Makes no sense. It's all obvious. It's slapping you in the face and everyone just keeps, this is just to those people on that are on the fence with them. Like in this situation, when everyone keeps fencing, shielding Biden. Why? He's the one in charge. He's been there for long enough. He could have fixed any of these things instead of just going Trump. Well, Trump. Well, Trump. Well, MAGA Republicans. Trump. Like that's all he blames on. Like you're in charge. You had the majority. You could have done it. You did nothing. Stop using it as a talking point. Like if you actually cared about any of these fucking things, you would have run through them all in 2 years. Like that. Because you had the ability and you did nothing. So people. Stop shielding the man. And here's the big question that's going to come out at the end of all of this. It's a question for, all people, whether you're right, left, in the middle, anywhere. It's a very, honest and real question. Now we'll know if you people get to the end because you find the comments somewhere and answer this. No matter what side you're on the, left, on the right, in the middle, wherever the hell you are. If this was Trump as president and all of this is happening, including border exploding, inflation, Palestine, all these fires, bombs found near train tracks, like all of this, would you be exploding and losing your mind? If it was just him in charge and not who is it right now. And when you answer yes, you prove my goddamn point. If it was him, every time he scratched his nose right at McDonald's, all hell broke loose. If this was him doing it, the world would be on fire. All these people are shielding him. That's our problem. That's what proves my point. And I don't give a damn what media it is. Guess what? There's a reason I don't watch it. I see stories and I look stuff up my goddamn self to find stuff away from them. This is all biased and bullshit. For the most part, but Jesus wept. Stop shielding him. Hold him accountable. You'll be surprised how much better things get. By the way, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Following YouTube. Jay Rosinski Show on Twitter, all of that. Share the bejesus out of it. It keeps it growing, keeps it, gets back close to those numbers and keeps my head on straight. I appreciate all of you. I'll be back again next week. Don't forget to share this. Until next time, deuces, peace. I'm out.